afternoon, class. Our topic for today is about introduction to programming. This topic will cover 1. Program and programming. 2. The design and development of a computer program. And 3, the actual programming. So these are the areas I'm going to cover today about introduction to programming. So let me start by defining what a program is all about. So we say a program, it's a simply a set of instructions written with the use of any programming language. Okay? So it's like a recipe book that you need to follow, in order to perform a specific task. In layman's term of computer, it's a step-by-step instruction that is to be executed by the computer, provided it is written in a programming language. Now, we know that program can only be interpreted and executed by a computer if it is in zeros and ones. We call it machine language. Now, in that purpose, we need to have a translator. Okay? So what are translators? Translators are also system programs or system software that will help the computer to interpret, translate the program written in high-level programming languages into its equivalent machine language. And among the most popular translators are compiler, assembler, and 3, interpreter. Okay? Let me differentiate the 3 translators. When you say compiler, your source program is written in high-level programming language, and the process of translation will be taken care of by the compiler. This is our translation, and the target is the object program, which is in machine language. Okay? So high-level programming languages, example, Pascal, C, C++, Java. Okay? Normally, languages that are used to write programs in any computer are always in English-like sentences. That's why they call it high-level. Even if it is high-level, computers cannot understand it unless you need a translator, this time in the form of a compiler, with the target code being the object, which is now the equivalent in machine language. Now, the counterpart of that will be the assembler. Okay? It's almost the same picture. Okay? You have the source program. You have the assembler being the compiler. And then you have the object program. Okay? What makes it different? The source program is written in a language, we call it assembly language, which is a second generation programming language. Second generation programming language. Okay? And the process that will take place is what we call assembling, or it is taken care of by the assembler. And the same objective, the target is the object, which is also expressed in machine language. Okay? So that means, in this discussion, irregardless of the language that is being used by the programmer, when it comes to computer programming, there is a facility that will help the programmer, okay, to translate his program, written in any language, into a language that is understandable by the computer. And for that purpose, you need to know what are translation, what are the different translators, and what will be the target when translation has been applied to any program written in any languages, okay, in order to arrive with the target object program, which are both in machine language. Okay? Here, you can see both compiler and assembler, okay, has to produce the equivalent object code. That means the programmer has to wait until the entire code has been compiled, assembled into its equivalent object code. Now, there is a portion in translation that will do translation in a different way. And that is the third translator, which is interpreter. Okay, for the interpreter, okay, you have the same picture. Okay, so you have a source program, normally written in interpretive languages. Like BASIC, GW Basic. Okay? The process that will happen will be interpretation. Okay? And immediately it will generate an immediate result. No need to wait for the equivalent object code. In short, what makes interpreter different from compiler is that every time the program will interpret, the computer will interpret your program, it is always on one statement at a time. And each statement, once read by the computer, it is to be read, fetched, and executed one at a time, and therefore you expect output for every statement. You don't need to wait for the equivalent machine language, which will not happen because this is under interpretation procedure. All of these are very basic when it comes to programming. It's not enough just to know what the language is all about. You need to know what are the supporting facilities that will make your program understandable to the computer. That's the reason why I discussed and touch also translator, because this will be our tool to make sure that computers can understand and execute our programs, being the programmer or the writer of that program. Now, after knowing these basic things, in order to develop a complete computer program, you have to follow steps. And the steps will follow, that will be followed by the programmer, are composed of 4 steps, from specification requirements, designing, development, testing, and maintenance. We will discuss that on the next part of my discussion. Then on the last part, we will discuss actual programming using Java. Okay? Java is now a very popular language, okay, which are both interpretive and compiled, and you will discover it later on once I begin number 2 and number 3. For number 2, we will be using for the design aspect, for the design, we'll be using algorithms in the form of flow charting and pseudocode. Okay, any question, class?